Hello, and welcome back to the Have We Made It Yet podcast. I am the comedian Josh Yang.
Oh, and I am the actor Lucas Ng.
Yes, he is. And this is the podcast where two creatives just on their path to making it talk about the process of making it. And sometimes we got some guests and friends on also that are in the process of making it. And you know what? As we start every podcast, I have to ask you, Lucas, have you made it yet?
No, and I know I might sound like a broken record, but things are actually moving right now. And if I actually read this really cool thing on Reddit about on the subreddit of /r/acting, and it's like there's a reason why your agent only makes 15%. It's because you, as the talent, you have to do most of the work. So that really inspired me. It's like, oh yeah, you just can't rely on outside help to do what you want to do. So you know what? I think we talked about this with other guests, but we make our own luck, and things are on the move. And we can talk about that nefarious audition request another time. That was kind of hinted at last week, but no, right. Things are on the move, so I'm excited for that. Mr. Josh Yang, have you made it yet?
I have not made it yet, and I've been figuring out what I can say for this spot because for a long time that nothing is happening because I've also been like in a self-imposed comedy quarantine just because I don't know what's happening out there in the bars and stuff, and with coronavirus and cases are spiking in Ontario, so I haven't really been doing any of those. So I figured in this spot maybe I should now say a joke that I wrote every week as something is like, oh, making it slowly, one joke at a time. So that's what I think I'm going to do, keep myself accountable, because I realize I haven't been saying jack shit for the last 2 months or so in terms of like making it. It's like you can only hear so much of it's like no and nothing else.
Right.
So I'll just tell you a joke that I wrote during this period of time, and like starting this podcast, I'll try to throw out a joke that I write every week. So this is the joke.
All right.
And granted, this is not the most joke in a supportive environment, just because of like there's only one person or two people, and like it's all through Zoom. So okay, so here you go. Basically, so Black Lives Matter is in the news. It's pretty popular. That already cut the joke off pretty bad. Okay, anyway. So Black Lives Matter is in the news this year, and it's a pretty powerful movement. Some corporations are actually getting involved on it. I hear Subway is actually releasing a new BLM sandwich. It's bacon, lettuce, and mayo guilt. So yeah. So that's one of the jokes that I've written before, and I figured I might as well just try out random jokes or ideas as we go through, because I'm not making anything else. This is the only thing I'm making, essentially. So that's what I'll do. But yeah, I think that's good.
No, that was good.
That fulfills my quota. But today we do have a guest. Another guest from the past, another blast from the past. I just don't know where I keep finding them. I guess it's, the nostalgia element of now being at a certain age where it's like things are changing. Because my 10-year high school anniversary reunion, well, it got canceled. It didn't work out because of, COVID and everything. But it was supposed to be this year. And this next guest, I actually knew from my high school years. So years ago, 10, 12, 13 years ago, was kind of the first time that we were in a band together in high school. And our next guest, he was always kind of the guy in the band who was like rocking it on the guitar whenever it was like during our live performances or kind of school concert type events. He would be the one to be rocking it on the guitar. So
nice.
What I would say is this next guest has been doing music for such a long time. And then he made the move recently, I think just a few years ago, to really pursuing music as a full-time um, passion and a full-time career. He recently moved to Montreal,
Nice.
and it's some exciting stuff is happening. He's releasing a couple new singles leading up to a debut EP in December. Please welcome the musical artist known as Adam Brian Paul, but I know him as Brian Yim from high school.
Hey.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Thanks for bringing me down memory lane, Josh. That was really nice. I forgot we were in band together, but we totally were.
Yo, that hurts.
Dude, oh, I'm so sorry. It's not about you. I just got like a horrible memory and like
I
haven't thought about band in a long time.
I mean, it does feel like, it feels like just different lifetimes ago, doesn't it? Because of how many changes people's lives can get into. But yeah, I mean, like, I was in concert band, and well, I mean, you kind of had to be in concert band as well, but I remember you were doing a lot more in jazz band, and because with the electric guitar and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely slacked off a lot in concert band. I think I was playing tenor sax, and it was just like a thing I had to do to like play in jazz band. Did you play trombone or trumpet?
Okay,
You're
so
such a nerd, Josh.
whoa, Lucas, I don't appreciate this third degree here. All right,
Oh my god.
at two, Lucas, just backstabbing me. Anyways, but okay, so I've had a long. We'll get to the podcast question later, but I got to resolve this issue. But like, I've had a long and arduous random journey through band. I started with clarinet in middle school, then I switched to trumpet, and then like in grade 10, I fell in love with the French horn, and that was my baby the rest of the way.
Right, I remember now.
Yeah, because I was the only French horn. Pretty much there. Lucas, shut up. All right. The French horn,
cool.
the French horn is a regal, noble instrument. Okay. Is very underappreciated in its ability to blend the sound in a concert setting. So you know what?
Dude, only nerds describe their instrument as noble and regal.
You know what? I'm this close to coming through that screen and like, I don't know, maybe like just having a stern talking to. I can't beat you up, Lucas. We've been through so much, but too much. But okay, enough about high school geekdom. We may touch upon that later. But okay, you know what? Important question. Most important, Lucas, control yourself.
Yeah.
The most important question is, Adam Brian Paul, Mr. Brian Yim, have you made it yet?
Absolutely. I think so. You know what? I've been listening to your podcast recently, and this question always strikes me because it's like, I think it's similar to a lot of other people who come on your show. And it's like, I think we're all simultaneously like making it and have made it at the same time, right? Because like just by like getting out there and doing what you're doing, you're already making it. Like, what's the destination? Obviously it's the journey. And my EP that's coming out, Wait, the Path Never Ends.
Yeah,
it's called Wait, the Path Never Ends. And I think that's just exactly what you're asking. It's like we try to get to like this destination, but it's like, what even is the destination, right? Like once you get there, you're just gonna want more, and that's kind of like how life is, I feel. So yes, I feel like I have made it and I'm making it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good to hear, man, because I know, like, I think for a lot of different artists, like, you go through different periods of time in like your early life leading up to whether deciding or not to go pursue it fully, that there's just going to be a bunch of stages like we've mentioned before. And like, I know you only kind of recently moved to Montreal. You've been working on this EP for about 2 years now. Can you kind of talk about that moment where you decided to leave Vancouver and then move across the country to Montreal?
Yeah, for sure. So I've only started writing music a couple of years ago. It's something I've always wanted to do. And but but you know, growing up in an Asian household, it's not something you really do. So I never did until like a couple of years ago. I was like, hey, I could actually do this if I wanted to. And like I just started writing. And at first I was still stuck in like this like really capitalistic mindset. It's like I got to make money from this, you know. That will prove that I'm successful and that will prove that I'm worthy. So it's like all about, you know, going on tour and trying to like sell merch and like getting a certain amount of listeners or something. But like what I've learned is like that's not what it's about at all. Like not even close. At least for being for what I'm trying to do, being an artist and just trying to express myself. I think it might be a little different whether an actor or whatever, the monetary part of it. But so yeah, at first I actually went back to school to pursue audio engineering, thinking, hey, that'll get me a job and maybe I can work in the industry or something. But like slowly I realized that's not what I want to do. I just want to make music to express myself and for myself. So when I was almost finished school in October of 2019, I one day realized, hey, this isn't really for me. I'm not gonna be working as an audio engineer. I'm ready. Like I gotta get out of here, get out of Vancouver, and just like pursue music, and pursue life really. So that's when I decided to like. It was a drug field inspired moment. A little took a little mushroom of the magic variety and and it suggested me very strongly to move over to Montreal. So I did that. I dropped out of school and drove across the country and found this like little cabin by the water out in rural Quebec. And I lived there for a few months. So that was kind of the start of it all.
Wow, you drove across the country. That's like, was it because like you wanted to just take more of kind of your stuff, your guitars and all your different instruments with you?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of that, but like, isn't that the only way to move across the country like properly? Like, you got to see the country, right? That's my conception of it. It's like, oh, this is great big adventure. You got to drive across the country. It's the only way to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was a period of time where like I think during quarantine where I felt like, you know, I'm still looking for work. Now would be like if I wanted to rent a car and then maybe drive around Canada, like the time, like sometimes you find like time is one of the biggest things that, you know, is a determining factor of whether or not you can do something. And it's like as we get older, we don't have as much time to do it. So like, yeah, driving across Canada, it can also be a very inspiring thing. Did any of that kind of like journey inspire you in your music so far?
I mean, that's a good question. I feel like my music is just whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm feeling, and it's really cool actually. Like as I write my music, I discover more parts of myself, and it's almost like I created this EP. Then I look back at it, I'm like, oh, hey, that's who I am, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, I guess the inspiration happens while it's being created. Like I'm not consciously really aware of it, I feel.
Yeah, on that note though, I was listening to your track, You and Me Both. An amazing track, by the way, too. It kind of reminded me of like early Pink Floyd, some like early Flaming Lips, even some Joji that I was hearing from and everything. Is that the type of music that you listen to and also you take inspiration from?
Cool, good question. I actually have never dove into Pink Floyd. I'm like embarrassed to say.
That's interesting.
Oh, but like Joji, I do own a record from him. I do like him.
Nice.
But like again, I at least for those artists I don't really think about. Some of my favorite artists are probably the Beatles is my favorite band.
Dude, Sergeant Pepper's, I saw in your artwork, man. That's what triggered me too.
Oh my god, that's like my favorite album.
Yeah.
Sergeant Pepper's Heart Clubs Band, is that what it's called?
Lonely Heart Clubs Band, yeah.
Lonely Hearts Club Band. Yeah, there we go. I like them. I like a lot of like newer indie stuff like Mac DeMarco and so on.
Nice. like I still play piano and everything like that, and I dabbled into lyric writing, but I know maybe your writing style is a little bit different too, especially with your EP that's coming out. Are you more of a melody person before lyrics, or lyrics that inspire the melody?
Yeah, great question. I was just talking about this with another artist actually, and for
Nice.
me, generally, the music always comes first. I
Cool.
never mind like the lyrics. I never even hear the melody. I just hear like the chords and the harmonies and like everything else before I even get like a melody. Then usually like I'll have a melody and like I'll literally like have like blank spaces on a page and I'm like, okay, I got to fill these in. It's kind of like a crossword puzzle of some sort. And then like it's like I've got a melody and I need to put some words in, and it's kind of whatever comes first to mind.
Yeah. Yo, that's so interesting. Because I've thought about kind of the way my musical experience has been. Like I've never been really good at music. I've always, I think I'm okay. I'm always like second trumpet or third trumpet. I kind of like the blending of the blending role to a certain degree. But I'm wondering, like, I know from learning piano at a young age as well, it was always very classical, very kind of the rigid structure. When I realized maybe I would have preferred jazz piano, because like then you actually get to have more expression in it. I remember like you were very good on the guitar in high school. Like how early did you start playing music, and like what was your schooling in there? Was it very classical schooling, and then later on you kind of had to leave that classical structure?
Yeah. I never ever liked any of the structure. I grew up playing piano like any
Yeah.
other Asian kid, right? Like you get a choice between piano and violin, I feel. And I actually didn't have that choice, but I went with piano. I think I was about 4 or 5 when I started. Did
Wow.
that up until I was 11. I absolutely hated it. Never ever practiced. Only got until like grade 4 or 5 or something. But never ever enjoyed it. And then I switched over to drums and guitar, which luckily my parents allowed, and they were very supportive of that. And once I switched over, then it kind of took off. I just started learning on my own. And I think most of what I've learned is on my own. I mean, jazz band was really helpful in high school too. Just learning, like, it forces you to like learn actual chords and stuff. Concert band, not so much. Like definitely for you, Josh, I feel like it sounds like um, you would have enjoyed jazz side of things more, like, just playing music rather than like learning music, which is awful. Who likes learning music? But it's also got its place and it's so important too, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the way I figure it. Way I figure it now is when I started early on as well. Like I also hated, and I feel like this is just, if not 75 or 80% of Asians, it's like you get put into the structure where you got to practice every day, and then you kind of practice just for practice sake. Like you don't know why. Like you're not really fully grasping the reason why you're doing it. You're just doing it because your parents tell you to do it. But now that I'm like looking back on it, it's kind of like, if I had a better sense of what I could have used the practice for, like the chord progressions, the theory. I hated learning theory, right? But like I can see it in my sister, kind of like she went through more of the theory element, so she can now actually have a better grasp of understanding the chord progressions, and then she can take that and apply it to being more expressive and like be able to create music by
Yeah.
knowing those fundamentals. It was never a really good way that I figured, like for me learning it, and then eventually like I never really made that connection until later on. I'm just wondering then, like for you, in terms of taking that expression and then applying it to kind of your music, do you find that you still need to rely on a certain level of skill, or you're kind of like, you get this idea, you get this inspiration, and then you work and find a way to match that inspiration?
Yeah, I think the technique side of things and skills we have, it's kind of like our tool set, right? Like if you're a painter, you have all your different colors and techniques and I don't know, mediums to
Mhm.
paint on. And same thing, like it just allows you more, it's like having a bigger vocabulary. You can just
Yeah.
write a better piece of subjectively better piece of expression or music or art or whatever. And for me, I find it so limiting. I really, really, really wish I had gone to jazz school after high school. I feel like I would be a much better musician. But at the same time, you kind of just have to work with what you got. It's like the path never ends. Have you ever made it yet? You got to work with what you got. And for me, that's my limited, I believe it's a limited vocabulary in music, but it's all relative. Like,
Yeah.
if I were better, I would want to be better too. And if I was worse, I would wish I were where I am now. So that's how I see it.
No doubt, man. I mean, you already do have a pretty big skill set with being a drummer, learning how to play piano too, and also learning guitar. So you're a multi-instrumentalist. With learning those three instruments, what made you really stick towards, I'm assuming, guitar rather than more drums, if anything?
Yeah, I loved playing drums when I was a kid. I think because the guitar stood like a little, upstage from the drummer. I think that's why.
Yeah.
And like in middle school, nobody could play. Honestly, like nobody could play guitar, so I just learned it and started playing it. That was kind of why. And like, not as many people could play it at the time, or I don't know. I don't know what drew me to it. Honestly, it was more melodic, and I love that too.
Nice.
And I wouldn't call myself a drummer. I played for like 2 years when I was a teenager. I can play like some basic beats and stuff. Like, I don't really play piano. I don't really play anything. I just half-ass everything, and it works. It works for this bedroom pop thing I do. So
I love it. Sorry, just quickly, was it you on the drums for You and Me Both, though?
no, actually,
Oh,
I got a session drummer for my EP.
Oh, okay. Dope.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just also reading in like another interview that you did that you pitch shifted your vocals for You and Me Both there. Yeah, I really like that idea of like using your voice as a mere instrument as opposed to just being like the showcased thing that is all about you and everything. Will we be hearing more about like the vocal modulation in the rest of your tracks in the EP?
Yeah, that's something I've like really also nice research. Like, you really dove in there, eh? Cool, Lucas. That's something I've been like working on. Just like in my music, I've been experimenting with, different guitar tones, different everything. And a big part of it was that I am not a singer. I just started singing because I started writing music, and I'm like, I gotta start singing because like if you want to express yourself, you gotta like have a voice, right? And I didn't really know what that voice was, so I tried everything. Like, I go from like You and Me Both. It's like this very upfront, vulnerable, naked kind of voice to like Moving On, which is like a really washed out reverby voice.
Yeah.
And I even do some falsettos in some in one of the tunes or a couple of the tunes. And that's something I'm really still figuring out, but I think we're getting closer. And I think moving on, we'll see more of vocals more similar to You and Me Both. I think it's upfront and vulnerable.
Dude, that's the thing that I love, though, that it's that like from talking to you, your speaking voice is a lot different from what I'm hearing in You and Me Both. So it's really cool to hear the overall expression and the variety of tools you can use to display a certain mood that I got from You and Me Both, as opposed to Moving On.
Yeah, for sure. There's almost like too many options nowadays, like you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun and part of the struggle. It's like, which voice am I? And like, if you ever get a chance to listen to the EP, you'll see it kind of swings left and right. And it's like, who are you? Like, I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew.
Interesting, because that I would say is like kind of thematic to your vibe as a musical artist, because it's like you got three first names in your musical artist, moniker. Could it be like Adam is the lower voice, Brian is the regular voice, Paul is like the higher voice? It's like, well,
You're
what
onto
was
something?
I might be because like Adam, Brian, Paul, it's like at first I was thinking, it's like, does Brian know two other dudes named Adam? Is this kind of like, or like, what is this amalgamation? Can you kind of give us a little dive into the thinking behind the name?
Yeah. Oh my God, you really picked up on that. I think you're the first person who's asked, but initially I was gonna be like, I'm gonna come up with 3 EPs because like I can't put my expression or music into just like one sound. It's so hard, and for so long I was trying to box it up neatly and say like, hey, this is who I am. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make 3 EPs, one like Adam, one Brian, one Paul, and they are, I would say, different sides of me. I don't think I'm going to go too in depth to it, but Paul's my dad's name actually, and Brian is obviously my name. And Adam was, to put simply, a name I chose, I think, in 4th grade in French class. They gave you like a sheet of paper and you had to choose like a French name. I don't think Adam's like really even French, but it was like the first name on there. So I was like,
yeah, I think it's a French cheese. Adam. It could be.
Is
It's a French cheese. I don't know.
No.
I'm kidding.
I'm part French cheese, part, I don't know, Brian Paul.
But yeah, no, it is a very interesting choice, and I would say that does kind of stand out because I couldn't imagine like another name that is just 3 separate names in together. But it does flow rather interesting, like Adam, Brian, Paul. There's a little bit of like a biblical element to it, like Adam, Adam and Eve. Paul was one of the like main disciples and that kind of stuff. So I kind of do like some of the literary like allusions, and kind of, and also it's just the 3 names are kind of, they do flow together rhythmically, I think, to a certain degree. Adam, Brian, Paul. I don't know. I'm just spewing like interpretations. My observatory, eye as a comic is kind of what I gotta work on. But yeah, no, it's an interesting name. Do you think you think that's the name you're gonna stick to? Is like, you had an initial idea, it's like, oh, this sounds good. I'm kind of dropping into this name. I'm gonna stick with it.
Wow, so many things I wanted to respond to, but I only remember the last thing. Is it a name I'm going to stick to? Yes, definitely. It took me a really, really long time to figure out like what my name is going to be, and it was probably another drug-fueled moment when I was like, "It's Adam, Brian, Paul." I get it. It's gotta have meaning. Like everything's gotta have meaning. It's just something about me.
Yeah, it's the holy trinity. It's the trinity of the three versions of Brian into one. The history with your dad's name, and the Adam is the start of beginning of something.
Yeah,
I'm going on a crazed mind dream right now.
No, it makes as much sense, I mean, to you right now than it did when I'm not making any sense. But it made a lot of sense to me when I thought of it. I was like, this is it. And when that happens, usually it sticks.
Brian, what are some musical guilty pleasures you have?
Oh my God, great question. It used to be like Jack Johnson.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And what else? Oh my God, I gotta like pull up my phone, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Pop punk.
Oh, like Sum 41 kind of stuff?
Oh my God, Sum 41. I just listened to them like last week.
Nice.
So good, man. Yeah. Jay Chou. You guys like Jay Chou?
Taiwanese rep.
Yeah.
OG.
Love that stuff. Yeah, there you go.
Shit, man. Dude, if anyone does Fat Lip during karaoke, that song is a banger, man. I was also wondering too, what else other than music still inspires you?
Life.
Yeah, I hear you.
What inspires me? Being the best version of yourself. Oh, how lame, right? But like, honestly, that is a thing. And like, just like promoting wellness and promoting, I don't know, just good vibes. That's the best way I can put it right now. I'm bad with words.
Yeah. No, I remember going on your IG, and you had this one post. I was like, if you are willing to deal with uncertainty, then that's where real life happens. Uh,
Something like that.
yeah, something like that, right? You had
I
like a
think,
diagram of it.
oh, I had a diagram. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of goes everywhere, eh?
Yeah, kind of. Like, is that what also kind of you mentioned about like spreading good vibes and living the best version of yourself too? But does that also kind of uncertainty also inform your work that when you're creating music, you don't know the end destination, but you're still willing to go on that ride just because the ambiguity could really make some really good art?
Yeah, for sure. I think I said like dive into the unknown and you'll be like rewarded with life.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, which I really believe just because it's happened to me, but like maybe it's not for everyone. Um, I wish, I could say like, this is my vision. This is who I want to be. This is who I am. I'm just gonna become that. But no, like that's not how it works for me at all. It's more like I'm figuring it out as I'm going, and it's like writing the book while you are reading it, and it's I don't know where I'm gonna go next. Like I would have never guessed I'd be here, right? So we'll see. Dive into the unknown, and maybe you'll be rewarded, maybe you won't. I don't know.
Yeah. I just also want to ask a question about your track Moving On. I also heard it there too. So your journey to Montreal started, you were like first raised in Hong Kong, then you went to Vancouver, and then eventually to Montreal. That track Moving On talks about like leaving loneliness and just the journey of essentially moving to somewhere and getting out of a previous situation. Does that track Moving On take in hints of your journey from Hong Kong to eventually Montreal and kind of you having to leave something to create something?
Moving On was one of the first tunes I wrote, and it was really personal at the time because I was leaving. I know like Josh probably knows this side of me, but I was really, really different just a few years ago. This was not me at all. I was definitely had like a really traditional capitalistic mindset. It's like do this and then make, I don't know, buy a house and then have a family, whatever. And I was moving on from all of that. So that's kind of what the tune is about. It's not so much about my journey from like Hong Kong or anything, but I do like writing music that that anybody can like see their own reflection in. Like, so I don't try to like make my lyrics super just about me. It's a lot of it like part fantasy, part real, just because like you'll apply to more people that way, and so whatever you like to see in it. But for me, it's about moving on from my previous life, I suppose.
Nice.
Yeah. And like to kind of touch upon that, like I do remember kind of hearing from friends about your decision to go to Montreal and like pursue music. And the thing that kind of I guess surprised me the most, or like kind of gave me the sense that it's like, oh no, this is like a legit change in somebody that I know's life, is when they were like, yeah, you got tatted up like all over, like you got like so many tattoos like all over your body, and it's like, oh okay, in Asian upbringing, that's good. That's a big, that's good. That's a sign that it's like, yeah, we're not gonna stick to the norms here. It's like, how many, can you talk a bit about like how you went on this journey now to like just go into tattoos, get a bunch of tattoos? Like what's kind of your philosophy behind getting them?
God, crazy. Like I would have never thought I would have gotten tattoos before. And I worked in this place for a couple of years, this animation studio where everybody had tattoos. Everybody was an artist. And I think that actually had like a huge influence on me. I was so glad to be there. It really normalized it. And I started talking to a couple of people, eventually got one. And then as I do with things, I usually go like 200% into something. So like, I think within like the first year, I had like 20 tattoos or something ridiculous. And it was almost like I was making up for, lost time, or like, I don't know, I was figuring out who I was at the same time too. And it was, I don't know, it was really empowering. Like they all, had a meaning, and it's like it was taking control of your own life and like all that
Mm.
good stuff.
What was the what's the tattoo that like you have the most kind of memory or emotion associated to it? Like, are you able to show it at all?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a bunch. I don't
That's
really know.
sick.
I like this bok choy though. It shows that
You have a bok choy?
I think
Oh,
it became my
wow.
favorite vegetable after getting it. Yeah, I don't know, man. Tattoos are cool, but like I don't feel the need to get one every week anymore. Even though that'd be nice. I'd like to finish off my sleeves, but
Oh,
recommended though.
oh
Damn.
man.
That's a hell of expensive hobby, but I love it though, man.
It could get expensive. I think if you make tattoo friends, it's a little better though. People
There we are. Yeah, so like the rest of your EP is yet to be released and everything. I think December 4th, right? From what I'm reading.
Yeah, December 4th.
Awesome. Of course, we've heard You and Me Both. We've heard Moving On, but there's other tracks like Excelsior, Keep Hurting Myself, and also 2003 too. Can you give us a teaser and what we can expect from those yet to be released 3 tracks?
Yeah, for sure. I would have loved to just like drop the whole thing at once. I think it paints a much clearer picture of where I'm at, or where I was at least 6 months ago. And I'm putting 2003 out in a couple weeks, actually, a week before the EP, so you'll see pretty soon.
Nice.
Keep Hurting Myself is similar in vibe to You and Me Both. Excelsior and 2003 both are quite similar, and that's something that hasn't really been heard yet. It's like more psychedelic and a little bit wonky. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's all over the place. It's all over the place, and I think it comes as a neat little package. Into
Nice. We talked about Sgt. Pepper's and the Lonely Hearts Club, that record, and that record has a through line. It's almost like a concept album in that there's a common theme throughout all the tracks, and so that everything blends in all together. For your EP, Wait, The Path Never Ends, is there a through line? Is there a commonality between all the tracks? One theme that you wanted to say for that EP?
the only commonality is in the name. There's nothing in common, honestly. Like looking back, yeah, it's about, I don't know, it's about what I've been going through. I guess that's what's in common. But like setting out on creating like an EP, I actually was set out to create a concept album, which is just something that I'm not ready to make yet, like I'm still figuring out my voice and who I am. But like in an ideal world, yes, I can create something like that just flows from front to end, and that would be amazing. And I would love to do something like that. But no, for this EP, you can hear me figuring out who I am.
Nice. Dude, one day I can't wait to hear these tracks live. Like when bars and clubs are open again, can't wait to see you live, man.
Thanks, man. I'm really excited for that. I really hope that day will come. And yeah, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, how was your experience on like the Montreal live scene? Because like I guess maybe you had like just over a year of time there before everything got maybe shut down, that like you could actually kind of go out on the night scene and play bars and stuff.
Yeah, actually, no, I had about 3 weeks before it shut
Oh,
down.
really?
So I lived out in a cabin for a while, and then
Oh,
in
that's why.
February, in February of this year, I moved out to the city. So for that like 3 weeks, I was going out to a lot of open mics, to a lot of shows, and I was meeting a lot of new people and stuff, which is super cool. And it really felt like I was in the right place. But then, COVID happened. So now we're just waiting.
Yeah, geez. So that cabin, the more you mention it, that almost sounds like such a like like one of those stories in the beginning of an artist's, journey where it's like, yeah, I just, came across this traveler along the road and he gave me this inspiration, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, I just found a cabin somewhere in the middle of Quebec. Is like, what was that kind of process where it's like, did you feel like you wanted something secluded and then it just came, like an opportunity just came on, or was it like it really was out of the blue that it's like, oh, I could just go to this cabin?
I had this idea of going to a cabin or some sort of place that's a little isolated so I can just have some more space to figure things out, right? And in the summer, I found this really, really neat home, this cabin that I found on Kijiji. But then I wasn't ready to move, so I saved this ad.
Oh, okay.
And 3 months later, I was, on my little trip, and I opened my bookmarks and like found this tab, and it was still available 3 months later. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to call them tomorrow morning and see if it's available. So I called them the next morning, and she says it still is available, and that my neighbor or her other tenant there is actually another musician. Her name's Cat Clyde. And I was like, oh my God, no way. I used to listen to Cat Clyde. That's crazy. This is like meant to be. And that's kind of why I moved there. Like I wouldn't have moved to any other place that I found on the internet. It was just happened to be, I found this place that was perfect. And 3 months later, it was still available. And it's just like everything aligned. So,
Wow. That's crazy. That's one of those freaking universe type moments as well. It's like, it just so happens another artist is there. Were you able to like kind of jam with her and like kind of collaborate, experiment,
yeah,
inspire?
yeah, for sure. We jammed a little bit, and we're friends now, which is really cool. So we hang out sometimes. And yeah, it's also really nice to just like, finally meet other artists or like-minded people and stuff like that. Yeah, it's helped for sure.
Nice. How long were you there for at the cabin during that
I
period?
was supposed to be there for 6 months, but I was there for about 3 until I got cabin fever. And I was like, no, I can't do this. So I moved to the city.
That's pretty ironic because it's like you went to a cabin and isolated for 3-4 months and it was like, oh, I can't handle it anymore. And then you go to Montreal and then 3-4 weeks later everybody has to isolate.
Yeah, did the whole quarantine thing before it was a trend,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. How was quarantine for you? Because I mean, I guess it was an opportunity for you to continue to work on your EP, but like, of course, it's always just gonna be a tough period.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who are very self-motivated. I guess I am in a way, but like I have trouble when I don't have like social contact, which is what I've realized when I did the whole cabin thing, like I need people, and I didn't respect that. And at least I learned that about myself, I guess. And I don't know. It's hard to be productive during the quarantine, as you guys may feel similarly to. I don't know, but it's been hard.
Yeah, like I don't know, your story of that cabin like just reminds you of like we're not everyone's like this, but like when Bon Iver like rented a cabin and just banged out For Emma Forever, like his first album and everything. It's like I just can't imagine being all lonely and actually creating good art, because my art comes from being inspired by other people. So it's good to know that you as a musician, you still thrive off jamming with other people and working with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way. I thought I could be like like that. Like so many musicians who go out to the cabin and record an album.
Yeah.
That didn't work. Not at all.
I don't think, but Kanye did that too recently in Montana with Yeezy, and it wasn't that good of an album. So
Fair.
don't recommend it. Don't recommend it.
Oh man. But
Kanye, you watching this?
Yeah.
oh, in case you didn't know, Kanye is very supportive of the Have We Made It Yet podcast.
Yeah.
So supportive.
Kanye 2020.
He already what is it, conceded the election. So you know what, Kanye 2024, because he has the policies of a wandering okay, I don't want to say crackhead, but like a wandering drug induced dream, but like the self motivation of a Trump, I guess. I don't I don't know. Maybe who we might actually be in a situation where, depending on what happens in the next 4 years, Kanye might seem like a realistic option. Okay, I've kind of like taken this on a completely different road, but let's go into the word association game.
I like it. I like it.
Alrighty.
That was so smooth, such a smooth transition. Okay, so Brian, we're gonna play. Sorry, Adam, Brian, Paul. We're gonna see which one comes out the most, Adam, Brian, or Paul in this game. But we're gonna do our word association game. So I have my 10 words. Lucas has his 10 words, and as we go through our words, I want you to clear your head and say the first word, idea, image, whatever it is, out the second we say our words, and we'll see where it goes. So, Lucas, you want to go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to say my therapist would be very, very approving of this idea. Maybe not in front of like other people, but let's do it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. It's that Zen space, that calm space, that mushroom of the magic variety space that we have there. All right. So first word of 10. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First word, turn,
Me,
take,
you,
change,
me,
me,
I,
effect,
you,
pitch,
left arm,
move.
ing on,
Oh, such,
that,
both.
you. This isn't very interesting, is it? Welcome to my unconscious.
And the last one, Adam.
Brian.
Nice. Man, that was good. That was like, that's what we want, just fast, to the point. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? It is you, me, you, I, left arm. It can be like that sometimes.
It'd be like that sometimes.
It really be like that sometimes. All right. Okay. So Brian, clear
Okay.
your head. I'll go with my 10 words.
I'm gonna turn the video off. There we go. We got this. Let's do it.
Just so you can focus even more.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So first word, family,
Mom.
pineapple,
Sour.
rain,
Fall.
alone,
Always.
motivation. Whoop. Sorry, we didn't get that.
Oh, intrinsic, I said.
Oh, motivation, intrinsic. All right. Kumquat.
Are they purple?
You know what's kind of embarrassing about this whole thing? I've said kumquat since the very beginning, and to this day, I don't know what it looks like. Like, I've used the word and the fruit this entire time, and I don't know what it looks like. So it could be purple. I'm only using it because it sounds funny. Okay, next word, mountain,
Preferred.
tightrope,
Nah.
satisfied,
It could be.
and finally, Pine Tree Secondary School.
Mr. McCullough.
Oh, that's such a. I mean, only you and I and like the listeners who are
Hey,
our
John.
friends.
I think
Who
that's his
knows?
name.
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. McCullough was our principal. He was a great principal.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
With
was.
his, like Harley. Yeah.
Yeah, he'd always have the Harley parked right kind of near I wouldn't say the main entrance, but it's like near his office or the entrance or whatever. And he had like an earring Yeah, he was just a really cool, chill principal.
Yeah, I have like a different perspective. I only saw him when I got in trouble when I was in his office. So he was
I
chill. He was
see.
all right. He was
He was
nice
chill.
enough. But there's another side of him, I feel.
That's true. That's true. I guess I wasn't. I was very. I don't know. I
You
was
and
kind
me,
of.
we're different kids.
We were clear. Yeah, we were different kids. So I was probably getting into not significant. You know, I don't even know. Like, what was something you got in trouble for in high school? Because I don't know it. Like, of you, I've never heard of you getting in trouble.
Fart bombs or something. Like we set off a bunch of stuff at school. I don't even know if I did, but like I was part of it apparently, and a couple other things.
You know what? That's the type of content we want in this podcast. We want to know what people were like when they were younger.
Yeah.
But either
next
way, for next time. But either way, thank you, Brian, Brian, Paul, for joining us on the Have We Made It Yet? What a trip down right memory lane, because it has been like 12, 13 years or 11 years or so.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much. It's actually been so fun. So nice meeting you, Lucas.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you want to do kind of your kind of spiel about what's coming up? Because I know you got, as of recording, 2 of the songs off the EP are out now. We'll kind of release this on Tuesday, November the 17th. So yeah, well, what can we expect coming out for the next songs?
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me everywhere at Adam Brian Paul, and I got another single coming out in a couple of weeks, and the EP coming out December 4th. So that's that.
Nice. What's your other like social media handles? Because I know you have it'll be on the YouTube channel where you do have the songs as well.
Yeah, it's all on Adam Brian Paul now. Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. Yeah.
Sick. So looking forward to it. Like what we hear already. So we'll be looking forward to it come December. Lucas, what are your handles?
Yeah, everyone can find me at Lucas John Ing on Instagram and on Facebook. And Josh?
For me, at Josh Yang Comedy across everything. And of course, if you want to listen to me drone on about random stuff so that you can fall asleep, you can listen to the Sleep with Josh podcast. Also, actually, you know what? I don't have an individual Instagram, but it's on Spotify. It's on the podcast platforms. So that's all you need. Sleep with Josh podcast. And please support the podcast here at Have We Made It Yet Podcast. Follow us at HWMIY Podcast across everything. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more similar conversations about people just trying to make it. And yeah, thank you guys for listening this week. And thank you again, Adam Brian Paul.
So thanks so much, brother.